Growing international trade calls for more efficient means of transport. The concept of Trans-Asian Railway was first raised in the 1960s, but was not pushed along until 2006, when 18 countries in Asia signed the Intergovernmental Agreement on building such a network. The project falls under the framework of the UN Economic and Social Commission for the Asia-Pacific region. 34 countries will be connected by 4 railway lines running through Asia, with a total length of 81,000 kilometers. Professor Wu Jianhong from Beijing Jiaotong University has been studying this massive project for many years. He calls this the new Silk Road on rail.
The Trans-Asian Railway is an important means of connection for countries in Asia, especially for those who are landlocked. After completion, this network will play an important role in promoting trade and connection between ports in East Asia and the markets in Central and Western Asia, so balancing the Asian economy as a whole.
The benefits can be seen from those lines already in operation. In 1992, China built the second Eurasia Continental Bridge stretching from its eastern port city Lianyungang to Alatau Pass in its northwestern region of Xinjiang. The freight volume jumped from 2 million tons in 1996 to 16 million tons in 2012. The number of containers rose tenfold from 20,000 to over 200,000. But since so many countries are involved in this massive Trans-Asian network, the road ahead won't be as straightforward.
There are many challenges for building this network, such as political will, foreign relations, technical standards, as well as financial support. All these factors could become barriers, so scientific studies on the economic and financial problems are needed. There should be also an intergovernmental framework to ensure a smooth execution of the project and safe operation after completion.
For all those challenges, progress is being made step by step. In Yunnan province, 3 lines are under construction to link China with ASEAN countries. These all start from Kunming and end at Singapore City, while running through the capital cities of 5 other ASEAN countries. Once completed, they will serve as major channels facilitating cross-border freight in East Asia.
So in Thailand, I think that there's several major sectors that Australian companies should and can be focusing on. One of the most important is to recognise that Thailand is a very big manufacturing power. Thailand is a global power when it comes to electronics manufacturing, food processing manufacturing, and the automotive sector. The one that's been most important to Australia to date has been automotive. There are about 20 Australian companies who are active in the sector in Thailand, and they become part of regional and global supply chains to provide products, components, to the automotive assembly industry in Thailand, which is about 11 times the size of the industry in Australia. So when you think about the development of an opportunity which is much greater in this part of the world, in the ASEAN region, based in Thailand, than what it is in Australia, then it makes sense for those companies to consider coming to Thailand because they have access to a much greater market. It's not been about closing facilities in Australia and offshoring those jobs. It's been about accessing a bigger market through these regional and global supply chains. The Thailand-Australia Free Trade Agreement, or TAFTA as it's called, has been in place since 2005. And since that time, we've seen almost a doubling of bilateral trade between Thailand and Australia. Not all due to TAFTA, but certainly it's had a very significant effect. And we've seen, when you go to a supermarket in Thailand, you'll see Australian produce on the shelves. You'll see Australian beef and lamb, fruits, vegetables, cheeses, a lot of dairy products. That trade has been greatly facilitated by TAFTA because it means we have preferential rates compared to most of our competitors from the US and Europe. So that's been a great facilitator and continues to be a great facilitator of increasing trade opportunities for Australian companies in those sectors. 2 things that the Australian government can help with in Thailand for Australian businesses. The first one is what we call our badge of government. The presence of Australian government officials in meetings is greatly valued by the Thai side, by business and government people. And secondly, English language is not widely spoken. English is not widely spoken in Thailand, so that's also a great facilitator to have local staff to interpret in those meetings.
And meanwhile, Thailand and Myanmar agreed to next month resume the Joint Trade Commission for promoting closer economic cooperations and boosting bilateral trade. The two nations' leader will chair the JTC meeting, the holding of which has been suspended for much of the year because of the transition to a military-led regime in Thailand. Deputy Commerce Ministry Apirati Tandraporn says the JTC is an effective mechanism for solving both countries' trade and economic problems and for finding matures and well as tightening cooperations to facilitate trade growth. The agenda for the January meeting, which will be held in Thailand, is to exchange trade information and promote growth via trade activities, reduce duplicate customs procedures, and promote more trade and investment after completion of the second Friendship Bridge and 4-lane roads linked to countries next year. According to the Foreign Trade Department, cross-border trade with Myanmar was worth about 173.6 billion baht in the first 10 months of the year, some of 7.8% higher than in the same period last year.